Wow, it's been a quarter of the season done already in the NFL, and today I'm going to give you 5 players to pick up in Week 6 here in the fantasy football season. I'm going to start with something that I said a couple weeks ago that you guys need to pick up, especially if you have a backup quarterback problem. Terrell Pryor, he's only owned in 29% of Yahoo leagues. He's proven all season long that he's going to put up at least 20 points a game. He might have a less than that, but usually he's going to be around the 20 number. And it's not the fact that he's the best quarterback in the world, it's just the fact that he gives you the rushing ability. He throws for a couple touchdowns a game. He's very efficient, doesn't really make many mistakes. So Terrell Pryor, especially if you have a guy like Matt Schaub off the bench, pick him up immediately. Bring Pryor off the bench, especially if you have an injured quarterback like a Michael Vick or something, or you got a guy in a bye week. So pick him up. Next, I'm going to go with wide receiver Ted Ginn Jr., and this could be kind of a surprise because he's really not lived up to expectations his whole career. But the thing about Ted Ginn is he's been getting a good amount of targets there in Carolina. It seems like he's kind of, I'm not going to say he's replaced Steve Smith in Carolina, but he's become more of that deep threat in Carolina to where he's going to get the deep balls from Cam Newton. While the Panthers aren't scoring much, the touches that are getting the ball, especially in the deep plays this year, have been from Ted Ginn. He has 2 weeks over 10 points and a week over 7.8 or something like that. So he's had 3 good weeks in a row that he's played. I would pick him up. I wouldn't start him or anything, but bring him off the bench, especially if you have a guy that's kind of struggling at wide receiver, maybe a guy that's out for the year, something like that. Ted Ginn Jr. isn't a bad ad, just because that he has been getting the ball thrown to him a lot. Next, I know it might sound kind of like, oh, he just had one game, but it's running back Pierre Thomas. I did watch the entire Bears-Saints game yesterday, and I saw a lot of good things from Thomas. He's not very good at running the ball, but the thing is he's going to get the ball passed too. Kind of like Knowshon Moreno in Denver. Like, he's not going to get you a ton of rushing yards, but he's going to get the ball passed too. The Saints are going to be around the end zone a lot. Pick up Pierre Thomas, especially if you have an injured running back, guy in a bye, something like that. See what he does. With the Mark Ingram injury, looks like he's fallen out of favor there. You know, Pierre Thomas, he's been doing it for years. Just a nice bench player to have in fantasy. Pick him up. He's not owned in many leagues. Like I said, give him a shot. Next, I'm going to go with wide receiver Keenan Allen of the Chargers. And I watched the entire Raiders-Chargers game last night as well. And Keenan Allen looked very good. He's had 2 pretty good weeks back-to-back. He is very explosive about the ball. Looks like he's going to be a big play guy, but also a red zone guy. The Chargers are throwing to him a lot in the red zone. He got a good number of targets. Philip Rivers seems to like him a lot. He's a rookie out of Cal. He's only going to get better. Pick him up because I think he could have a pretty solid end of the year, especially if you have you're weak on the wide receiver depth chart. He's only owned in 5% of Yahoo leagues, so he's going to be available in pretty much every one of your leagues. Give him a shot, but like I said, he might be actually a guy that you could keep for the rest of the season. I think Philip Rivers is kind of falling in favor with him. Mike McCoy, the new head coach there, really likes him as well. That was a 3rd round draft pick. Seems like they're going to keep throwing him the ball. He's a good deep threat, and he's good in the red zone too, so that's what you want in fantasy football. Keenan Allen brings that to the table. And then finally, Justin Blackmon, wide receiver. He's owned in 60% of leagues, so usually those deep leagues he's not going to be available, but in those 18 leagues he might be available, especially since there's 40% of leagues still don't have him. Big week already starting for the Jags off. I know the Jags aren't very good, they can't move the ball, but the one person that can move the ball for him is Justin Blackmon, and it showed last week. Huge fantasy week in terms of wide receiver position, by far the best of any Jags receiver this year. Pick him up immediately if he's available. Justin Blackmon is definitely a guy you keep on the roster all year long. He gets a ton of targets. He's the only really weapon besides Cecil Shorts on the Jags. Another thing, they're always going to be down, so they're going to be throwing the ball a ton. That provides more opportunity for them to get the ball to Justin Blackmon. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and check out my other fantasy football videos this week. Have a nice day.